Hey everybody, welcome back. My next guest is TheGunrun, aka Justin Ignacio, aka TheGunrun. Nobody calls him Justin. There are too many Justins at Justin TV. Anyway, I want to introduce you once again to my buddy. He was at the PPSL. He was in charge of the stream. He was the dedicated observer. Justin, tell us about Fabulous You.
Yo, how's it going, Rachel? So, I go by TheGunrun. My real name's Justin, but no one calls me that, as you said. That's completely true, by the way. I work for Twitch TV. I was in the Philippines, and PPSL scenario,
How did you, Justin, how did you end up at the PPSL?
When the PPSL first began, I was already in the Philippines for about a week. There were two events going on in the Philippines. First one being the Pinoy Gaming Festival, or PGF, and then the PPSL. They were both within a week of each other, so I pretty much, flew myself out to the Philippines to go and attend both events. Just initially to, really see how Filipino esports was and to try to grow it in any way I could. So, I was at the PGF, and, that was an event ran by the opposite team. There's two teams in the Philippines right now. There's AZK and Mineski, and the first event was Mineski ran, and I was there doing commentary and helping out as much as I could, and it was a pretty swell event. Then PPSL. So I was the first guy that Gus contacted about possible sponsorships in terms of Twitch TV and such. Then I realized it was the Philippines, and I really wanted to go back to the Philippines, and this was my opportunity to do so. I was one of the guys who got him hooked up with IGN when I realized both events were happening at the same time. Because I wanted to go and check out the PPSL, I realized it would be butting up against the IPL, so I kind of brought those two together to go and get everything set up. So I went over there for PPSL to make sure everything went well, and that was pretty much the gist of it. Everything was paid off by Twitch TV. I wasn't paid by Gus at all. And one who volunteered to do observer work and everything else from that point. As you probably guys know out there.
So you just happened to be out there, but for both these events, your intention was to hit both of them, correct?
Yes.
And when you showed up, oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Skype's awesome, right? I was supposed to hit both events up, and there was about half a week between both, so I was able to get a little vacation time in.
And when you showed up at the PPSL, did you have a defined job, or you were just coming as part of a sponsor who had given money to check out the event?
Pretty much as a sponsor, but I also love volunteering to do things whenever I can. When I went in, I already knew the production guys, John and stuff, from working with them for PGF. So I straight up asked them if I could be the observer, because I really love doing that at the NASL finals. So I wanted to have that opportunity again to observe for Tastosis. So I guess that was my own given job we asked for, if you could say that at all.
And you took on the observer job. What were your responsibilities at the end of the event? What have you been doing the entirety of the event?
Oh, if we're talking about responsibilities that I kind of gave up on myself, I guess I started from day two. I kind of picked up the pace and took more of a leadership role in terms of getting people trying to bring up people's hopes up again after day one scenario, and also just as general tech. I guess that's my job as Twitch TV. I want to solve as many issues as possible, and that kind of came up during day one with the various things that occurred, the internet outages and computer situations and lack of an actual stage director. I kind of picked up those whenever I could, and likewise was Trevor as well. And it kind of grew from that point throughout the event. Day two, even more so, as people came up to me as asking me for what they should be doing, and I coordinated with Trevor heavily on that to figure out what was the best thing for people to get done in order to have a really good day too. And I kind of felt I took over that responsibility a bit, which Gus should have had initially.
Well, you mentioned some of the staff members that were working at the event coming up to you and telling you things and asking you things. How did the staff react to these complications? What was the overall reaction of the people that were working on this event?
Yeah, the Filipinos that I was working with, like, they're extremely dedicated and wanted to have the event, like, work out really well. But after day one and all the things that went on, it felt pretty bad. When I first came to the venue on the second day, it was around 8 a.m. and, like, no one was there. Amanda called me and, like, told me, like, what was up, and kind of, yeah, she was the first person at the event there, and, she told me everything that was going on, like, in the back end, like all the infighting going on with AZK, Gus not paying people correctly, how John originally was supposed to be the production guy, and, like, he kind of, like, Gus kind of fired him and, like, rehired him last minute because he kind of had to. Then also, like, how John was promised 50% straight up, and that didn't actually happen, and people being afraid that they would get paid. Like, yeah, it was pretty bad, and, like, I called up called up John personally to make sure he would come to that area, and, like, I told him, like, what was at stake here. Like, if we didn't get day two rolling, like, it would just look bad for the Filipinos, and yeah, they pretty much all agreed, and, like, we've pretty much, like, worked our hardest from that point to, like, not for any kind of, like, pay, but rather to just, yeah, make sure Filipino esports was intact, to make the event completely not a bust, and to have an actual day two that, like, to actually have an event, rather, that ended in a sufficient way, you know?
Well, you were working very closely, as you said, with John, who is running the stream. Exactly what were the inadequacies with the streaming setup that were choking our production?
Yeah, so I was plagued by, like, a couple of issues with the stream. On day one, the internet just was god awful. I think we had, like, 2 megabit up, and we were sharing that amongst 2, like, on-stage computers. Like, there were, like, from what I was told, I don't know if this is true or not, but we were supposed to have 2 dedicated internet lines. One for the game area and one for, like, the stage as well as the broadcast. And yeah, after doing some speed tests and even just loading Google up, it was really apparent that we weren't given the bandwidth necessary to, like, produce a 720p stream. Like, for the first hour, we had to bring it down heavily. Even our 360p was, like, cutting in and out too. It was quite bad, but later throughout the day, like, it got resolved somehow. I don't know if it was Gus talking to people or like just guys in general, or maybe just the luck of the venue, but eventually it just got much better throughout the day, and, like, it was actually playable, and I was able to push it up to 480. But yeah, talking more tech issues though, if you want to get into it, yeah, the computers that we were playing on for StarCraft 2 just weren't even adequate from a hardware perspective. Like, after 50 food in StarCraft 2 just began to lag tremendously, and yeah, just had a jerry-rig, like, fixes from that point on. Not sure about the exact details, but I know RAM was removed and placed near computers. Various, like, drivers had to be reinstalled, and even players themselves had to be sent out to various, like, computer cafes to go and finish out their matches because there just weren't enough, like, computers there. Yeah, like, to go back into streaming situations, like, yeah, everything was running through XSplit, and that was running pretty fine as well. I kind of wish the crew was given more time to do testing. We had our internet, like, on day one around 6 a.m. where, like, IGN was told it would, like, happen at midnight when we first got the venue. Like, that just didn't happen. And even that early in the morning, like, when I met up with John, he was promised internet there, but it just wasn't set up yet. It was just all over the place.
Yeah, you actually, I remember sometime on Sunday around noon, you said you were going to take a run over to the center and you were going to start working on things, and you came back later, you said it wasn't up, that you were going to go again at 1 a.m., and you went at 1 a.m., it wasn't set up. So when did you guys actually get to start working on the internet connection? Not till the morning of the event?
Yeah, it was literally not till the morning of the event. Like, day one, like, at 8 a.m., we got internet rolling and we were starting to push. And yeah, like, it was stable for a bit, but the internet just wasn't able to support even 480p. Like I said earlier, just completely was not sufficient.
Well, we did manage to pull, I think, a pretty good show out in the end, despite these complications. Did you talk to? I know you've been involved in some of the fallout from this event and helping out some of the Team AZK employees who kind of were hurt by this event. So, can you give us a roundup of the current feelings and, I guess, the current situation for some of these employees?
Yeah, certainly. So, like, after most of the players flew off to Korea or wherever have you, like, I gave myself an extra day to go meet with XSplit, who happened to be in the Philippines. yeah, which I found out kind of recently. So I organized a meeting with them like later on in the day. But that morning though, I met up with Amanda and Clive, and then I was told about the situation. Apparently Amanda like was the person responsible for booking all the flights, and she also took on the responsibility of paying for them as well. So yeah, like Gus had not paid her, and she owed approximately $12,000 USD. And if she didn't get that paid up, she like yeah, the travel agency would go after her, and yeah, possible jail time. I hear it's pretty awful situation there, and I had to deal with it personally. Clive as well was thrown into a situation where like the money wasn't available for him to go and pay the hotel, so yeah, so it was just me, Clive, and Amanda just hanging out there like in the morning after everyone left, and then I was able to contact Gus. So yeah, that morning I talked to Gus, and he said he'd be there. So like 2 hours later, Gus didn't arrive. My ride to Exploit was coming up, and I knew Clive just wasn't allowed to like leave the hotel until that stuff was paid off. So I paid him off like right there and then. But like the plan was that when Gus arrived, we'd take him down to the precinct and like have him like sign some documents to take on the responsibility for both things. But like it just didn't happen within like 2 hours. So like I didn't believe it would come. So yeah, I signed off on Clive, kind of bailed him out there. Then I went off to have a meeting with XSplit. But yeah, later on, apparently Gus did arrive there. And from what Amanda's told me, he didn't even have enough money to pay off for Clive. Like 10,000 pesos. And like, I don't think that really amounts to enough for $900, right? So, and also apparently Gus brought on an attorney or someone which allowed him not to be able to go to the precinct with Amanda and Clive. So that kind of like screwed things up there. Yeah, so from that point, things just got a little sketchy. Then I flew back to America and just been talking with those guys ever since. Amanda still hasn't been paid off completely, like with the IGN thing that went on like a day or two ago. Yeah, you know what's going on there. Just like they're trying to support her, and like yeah, Gus just still hasn't paid up. Gus still owes me about $900. Owes Amanda a lot more, and yeah, that's pretty much the situation there. The Filipinos, they're like yeah, completely enraged about that. AZK in themselves, like they're all cool people. It's just Gus kind of screwed them over, and like there's a lot of infighting going on right now, and I think they're even mad about like that whole Amanda thing going public too. Not sure about the current situation exactly, but just hearing like from the Filipino StarCraft community, like pretty much everyone's anti-Gus and like really just yeah, not happy about like how he kind of sullied this amazing opportunity here with IPL and the Pacific qualifiers. Just really felt it could have been much better if Gus just actually was a bit more competent and was aware of like the responsibilities he had. I don't think the stuff with Gus was like he was completely being malicious and was trying to like be a thief and take everyone's money. But like I just think he just really just wasn't competent, and like all his money was just completely just thrown in the wrong direction here, and kind of ruined it for the people. And like Team AZK too, like their brand is kind of thrown out the window right now, and I really hope they do like rebrand themselves and like come back up, because those are like really swell guys. Like I really don't like their name being ruined like this, but they kind of have to change up who they are right now. Yeah.
Well, do you know anything about what the legal situation is for some of these people? Who is going to be legally responsible for the money Amanda owes? Who is legally responsible? You know, is there a way to tie Gus to the money that you paid in Clive's stead? You know, I believe it was you and your uncle who were helping a little bit with the cops, like you said, waiting to take Gus to the precinct. So do you know where the law is going to fall among these people?
I think because they have it in writing that Gus was the organizer of the event, like he will be held responsible. It's just going to take a while though for the legal system to really filter it down to that. I'm not really familiar with the legal system of the Philippines, but I think it will take some time before it all gets ironed out. But in the end though, I think Gus will be held responsible. It's just kind of sketchy at the moment. Like Amanda, is the one responsible for the plane fare, just given the way like I've heard her story, like just how she like went through under her name. But yeah, ultimately Gus should be the person who pays for this off, and also me as well. But it just doesn't sound like he has the money for it, sadly.
That is a sad thing. Do you think the blame being placed on Gus is justified, or do you think there's a wider circle of blame here that's not being talked about?
I kind of feel like since Gus put the responsibility on himself, that he should be the one blamed for everything that's occurred. Like he was the one. Like he didn't really allocate his I guess responsibilities that well, and put everything on himself. And like yeah, he just didn't deliver. He like handled the money and just handled it kind of responsibly. A lot of people relied on his own like ability to just maintain like like what was important for the event, like make sure things were going on, but just kind of dropped the ball there. And yeah, like I feel like a lot of that could be tied down to him. Like I kind of feel uncomfortable saying it, but yeah, like it's Gus's fault that a lot of this stuff went down.
Well, Gunrun, I always appreciate your insights here. I heard that you and Torch are actually putting together a Reddit thread that you're going to update a bit as information develops. Do you know where we can find this, or where we can follow you to see when this springs up?
Yeah, I'll be posting on like as soon as we post it up, and as we update it, I'll be updating it on my own personal Twitter, like @TheGunrun, and yeah, it'll be on StarCraft Reddit. We'll be Trevor and I will be updating that as much as possible with as much detail as we have since we were there at Ground Zero as it went down. And like yeah, with everything that went on with like me and Amanda and like Clive, I'll be putting a lot of details there too, to exactly what happened and also what they've been telling me like recently as well. Yep.
All right. Thanks, Justin, for talking to us. We're going to go to a quick commercial, and then we'll be back with Docs. Thank you.